The night of departure. The day crawled by with agonizing slowness, each hour stretching like taffy under the weight of what was to come. Isaiah moved through his duties in the colonel's study with mechanical precision, his hands steady on the account books even as his mind counted down the hours. 14, 13, 12. Crowe appeared in the doorway 3 times before noon, each visit more pointed than the last. "Everything in order, Isaiah?" The overseer's eyes swept the study like a man searching for something he couldn't name. "Yes, sir. Just finishing the inventory Colonel Bellmont requested." Crowe leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. "You know, Mrs. Bellmont told me to keep a special eye on things. On everyone." He paused. "On you especially." Isaiah looked up with what he hoped was the right mixture of confusion and deference. "Sir? She thinks you're too clever by half. Says a man who can read and write might get ideas above his station." Crowe's smile didn't reach his eyes. "I told her not to worry. Told her you know better than that. Don't you, Isaiah?" "Yes, sir. I'm grateful for the colonel's trust. I wouldn't do anything to betray it." The lie tasted like ash, but Isaiah held Crowe's gaze until the overseer finally nodded and moved on. When his footsteps faded down the hall, Isaiah's hands began to shake. He pressed them flat against the desk until the tremors subsided. 11 hours. At midday, Abigail brought his meal, cornbread and beans, same as always. But when she set the plate down, her fingers brushed his, and he felt the tremor in them that matched his own. "Ruth?" he asked quietly, his voice barely above a whisper. "Mercy gave her the soothing tea this morning. The cough is better." Abigail's eyes met his. "She'll be ready." Isaiah nodded. "Moses? Everything's prepared. The bundles are where they should be." She straightened, her voice returning to normal volume. "Will there be anything else, sir?" "No, thank you." She left without another word, but Isaiah saw the set of her shoulders, the determination in her spine. A mother walking toward the most dangerous gamble of her life, carrying her child into the unknown. 10 hours. The afternoons stretched endlessly. Isaiah forced himself to work, to maintain the illusion of normalcy. He cataloged the colonel's books, noted the contents of each drawer, recorded every item as if he would be here to reference these notes when the Bellmonts returned from Charleston. Through the window, he could see Moses at the forge, the steady rhythm of his hammer unchanged. Samuel and Elijah worked in the tobacco fields, bent low over the plants. Hannah moved through the big house, visible occasionally through windows, carrying linens, emptying chamber pots, performing the endless tasks that had filled her days for years. But tonight, all of that would end. 7 hours. As the sun began its descent, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold, Isaiah felt time accelerating. The shadows grew longer. The air cooled. Somewhere in the quarters, 8 people were making their final preparations, checking hidden bundles, memorizing routes, saying silent goodbyes to the only home they'd known, however brutal it had been. Crowe made his rounds as the sun set, his boots heavy on the paths between the quarters. Isaiah watched from the study window as the overseer moved with deliberate slowness, letting everyone see him, letting them know he was watching. "All night," Crowe had promised that morning. "I'll be making rounds all night." Isaiah had nodded and thanked him for his diligence. Now, watching the overseer's methodical patrol, he felt the plan shifting, adapting. They would have to time their movements carefully, wait for the gaps between Crowe's circuits. 5 hours. As darkness fell completely, Isaiah returned to his small room behind the kitchen. He lit a candle and sat on the edge of his narrow bed, staring at the flame. In his mind, he walked through the plan one more time. 3 hours after full dark, that would be around midnight. Meet at the edge of the swamp, 2 miles north. Moses would come from the forge, carrying the largest bundle. Samuel and Elijah from the fields, Abigail and Ruth from the kitchen quarters, Mercy from her cabin near the herb garden, Hannah from the big house, Clara from the women's quarters. 8 people, 8 separate paths, all converging on that single point. From there, they would follow the creek north for 3 miles to confuse the dogs. Then overland, guided by the North Star, moving only at night, hiding during the day. 30 miles to the Patterson farm, the first safe house. Then 40 more to the second. And on through Maryland and Pennsylvania and New York, until they reached a place where the law recognized them as human beings instead of property. 3 hours. Isaiah extinguished the candle and lay down fully clothed. He closed his eyes but didn't sleep. Instead, he listened to the sounds of the plantation settling into night. Voices fading, doors closing, dogs barking in the distance, the rhythmic chirp of crickets, the rustle of wind through the trees, and underneath it all, the sound of his own heartbeat, steady and strong. 2 hours. A soft knock at his door. Isaiah opened it to find Jacob standing there, his weathered face barely visible in the moonlight. "Couldn't sleep," the old man said quietly. "Thought I'd check on you." Isaiah stepped aside, and Jacob entered, moving slowly to the single chair. They sat in darkness, neither speaking for a long moment. "Your mama," Jacob finally said. "She taught you to read because she believed you'd use it for something important, something that mattered." He paused. "She was right." Isaiah's throat tightened. "How long have you known?" "Long enough." Jacob's voice was soft. "I've seen the signs before, the way you watch the North Star, the way you and Moses talk without talking, the way Hannah looks at you when she thinks no one's watching." He reached out and gripped Isaiah's shoulder. "I won't ask you when. I won't ask you how. I'll just say this. When the sun rises and they find you gone, I'll make sure I don't know anything worth telling." "Jacob?" "No." The old man's grip tightened. "Don't say anything. Don't give me anything I'd have to lie about." He stood slowly, his joints creaking. "I'm too old to run, too old to start over. But you've got years ahead of you, years that should be yours to live." He moved toward the door, then paused. "The hardest part is the waiting, but that's almost over now." After Jacob left, Isaiah sat in the darkness, his hands clenched into fists. The old man's words echoed in his mind. Years that should be yours to live. 1 hour. Isaiah stood and moved to the window. The moon was high now, 3/4 full, providing enough light to navigate by, but not so much that they'd be completely exposed. Perfect weather, cool but not cold, clear but with enough cloud cover to provide moments of darkness. He thought of Hannah somewhere in the big house, waiting, of Moses at the forge, his massive hands steady despite the fear he must be feeling. Of Abigail, holding Ruth close, whispering promises of a better tomorrow. Of Samuel and Elijah, their young faces set with determination. Of Mercy, her frail body powered by a will stronger than iron. Of Clara, the unknown variable, desperate enough to risk everything. 8 lives balanced on the edge of a knife, 30 minutes. Isaiah checked his pockets one final time, the small knife he'd hidden there, the flint and steel, the folded cloth that held the last of the dried meat Moses had prepared. Nothing that would be missed, nothing that would raise suspicion if he were stopped, but enough to help them survive the first night. He thought of the account books in the colonel's study, still open on the desk, his own name written there in neat script. Isaiah, male, 32 years, $1,500. Tomorrow, when they discovered he was gone, they would add a notation, stolen property, reward offered. But he wouldn't be property anymore. None of them would. 15 minutes. Footsteps outside. Crowe making another round. Isaiah held his breath as the overseer passed by his window, the man's shadow falling across the floor. The footsteps continued, fading into the distance. Isaiah counted to 100, then 200, tracking Crowe's circuit in his mind. The overseer would check the stables next, then the barn, then swing past the quarters before heading back toward the big house. That gave them a window. 20 minutes, maybe 25. It would have to be enough. Midnight. Isaiah opened his door and stepped into the night. The moon cast everything in silver and shadow. He moved quickly but quietly, staying close to the buildings, using the darkness between the moonbeams. His heart hammered against his ribs, but his feet were sure. At the edge of the compound, he paused and looked back. The big house stood white and imposing, its windows dark. The colonel's study, where he'd spent so many hours pretending to be grateful for the chance to serve. The kitchen, where Abigail had brought him countless meals. The forge, where Moses had shaped iron and plans with equal care. All of it about to become memory. Isaiah turned north and began to walk. The path to the swamp was familiar. He'd walked it dozens of times over the past 2 years, always with a reason, always with an excuse. Checking on drainage ditches, looking for lost tools, hunting for herbs Mercy needed. But tonight, there was no excuse. Tonight, there was only the truth. He was running. The swamp's edge appeared through the trees, the water black and still under the moonlight. Isaiah moved to the agreed-upon spot, a massive cypress tree with roots that formed a natural shelter. He crouched there, his breath coming quick and shallow, and waited. 1 minute passed, 2, 5. Then a shadow detached itself from the trees. Moses moving with surprising quiet for a man his size, a large bundle on his back. He saw Isaiah and nodded, settling beside him without a word. Another minute. 2 more shadows, Samuel and Elijah moving together, their young faces tight with fear and determination. Then Mercy, surprisingly quick despite her age, her small bundle clutched to her chest. Abigail appeared next, Ruth asleep in her arms, the child's breathing deep and even from the sleeping tea. Clara emerged from a different direction, her eyes wide but her jaw set. 7. Isaiah's chest tightened as he counted. 7. They were waiting for 8. Where was Hannah? The minutes stretched. Isaiah forced himself to breathe, to think. Hannah had the furthest to come, the most dangerous path. She had to leave the big house without being seen, cross the open yard, make her way through the quarters. But she should be here by now. Moses touched his arm, his eyes asking the question Isaiah couldn't bear to answer. How long do we wait? Another minute passed, then another. In the distance, a dog barked, then another. The sound of voices, faint but growing louder. Something was wrong. Isaiah stood, his mind racing. They had 2 choices. Go now, with 7 instead of 8, or wait and risk discovery. If they waited and Hannah had been caught, Crowe would be coming. If they ran now and Hannah was simply delayed, they would leave her behind. The voices grew louder. The dogs were barking in earnest now. Moses gripped Isaiah's shoulder. Brother, he whispered urgently, we have to decide. Isaiah looked at the faces around him. Ruth sleeping in her mother's arms. Mercy's fierce determination. Samuel and Elijah's fear. Clara's desperation. Moses' steady strength. 7 lives that depended on him. And Hannah, somewhere in the darkness, either coming or caught. The voices were closer now. Isaiah could make out words. Check the quarters. Get the dogs ready. His heart shattered even as his mind made the calculation. If they waited and were caught, everyone died. If they ran now, 7 might survive. But Hannah. Isaiah opened his mouth to give the order that would tear his soul in half. And then she was there, bursting through the trees, her dress torn, her face scratched but her eyes blazing with life. Run, she gasped. Mrs. Bellmont came back. She found my bed empty. They know. Run. Behind her, the dogs' barking intensified. Lights appeared in the distance, torches moving fast. Isaiah grabbed Hannah's hand and turned to the others. Now, move now. They plunged into the swamp, the cold water closing around their legs as they waded into the darkness. Behind them, the voices grew louder, the torches brighter. The hunt had begun.
Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures. Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures.